What's up, everyone? How's it going? Welcome to today's market analysis or trade recap episode. Today is May the 27th, and we unfortunately were not able to be live on the market and trade today morning. So, what we'll be doing here today is we will be analyzing all of today's price action to see if there are any setups that we could have capitalized off of. So let's dive straight into it. So I'm going to keep all the zones that I had marked out from yesterday's pre-week analysis because it essentially still applies to today's action. We will go ahead and double check if there are any additional zones or anything of that nature that we do need to mark out. But we can keep most of the stuff that we had marked out from yesterday simply for timekeeping purposes and to make this entire process much easier. But just looking from where we're at right now, what we see is that our preferable or predictable outcomes actually played out just like we wanted it to. We had a bullish bias since yesterday, simply looking at price action, and we said that if this upper zone breaks, we have likelihood to head towards these levels all the way up here, or simply make an upwards move until there's clear evidence of rejection. And that's exactly what we did. And even better than that, look at how our lower zone held up as well. We said that if our lower zone breaks, then we might head downwards to our V2 levels. But we broke the upper barrier, saw a big move towards the downside. But at this lower zone, we saw aggressive movement towards the upside regain within the market, and that provided great confluence for the upside. So this zone can be removed because it has been clearly broken with evidence on top of that as well. And we can go ahead and mark out these lows as main liquidity alongside these lows as well. And this is simply on ES. I'm taking a look at 830 and we'll mark a vertical line there because that is where market has opened. And it is going to be right here. So do you just keep in mind that market open time was a time where the entire direction of the market had shifted from that retracement down to that aggressive move towards the upside. Just keep that in mind here as you move forward. But this zone still holds up, nothing too crazy there. We do have upwards liquidity here to definitely look out for, which I will mark out. That's what I'm seeing on the charts. Can likely take off that one. Potentially, yeah, we can mark this one out as well. So from where market is at right now, I want to see where we can go either to this lower zone or towards these upper liquidity levels where I have to reassess and seek data and information from those levels as well. But that's essentially what I'm seeing on ES. Most of our preferable outcomes have stood just like we wanted to, but now we just have to seek and look for reactions from different levels, whether it be up here or down here. And that is all going to be determined from how the market moves starting from market open. So that is the simple analysis for the overall structure prior to market open on ES. Now let's do the same on NQ. And I'm going to remove these lines. These lines are from our preferable outcomes that we had on our pre-week analysis. But let's go ahead and mark out anything there. And honestly, NQ is essentially the same. And honestly, it's even a bit cleaner than what we saw in ES, right? But on this one, I would prefer heading to the 1 hour. And what we see is that action here at the top, nothing showed us that this level did not hold. So this 30-minute zone did hold. We're still trading between zones. And here, I just want to see whichever zone breaks. And we see this zone break, which does put me into some sort of a seller focused mindset coming into market open. But Once we come down here, we show clear acceptance and then break through these highs very effectively, which is a great sign for bullish potential. So I'm going to mark out those levels as well, same ones I saw here on ES, but on NQ. Those are our levels there. We do have this level down there, but those are the main levels that I'm looking to see a reaction off of. I want to see how price reacts at those levels and even this 30-minute zone. And that we can do by looking at bookmap and footprint and getting to analysis in there. But essentially, it's going to be the same thing that we saw here on ES, but just looks a tad bit different. So let's head on to the 5-minute and dive into where we look for our setups. So I'm gonna hop onto ES for this just so you can see it side by side. But if we take a look here at 8:35, price went down, took out our main liquidity levels down here below, which would not be this one, but it would be that one. We took out a main liquidity level down here below, and we wicked up, showed a divergence candle. That already has showed me that price may want to find its direction towards the upside. But we can confirm that by looking on the footprint chart. And let's see if there was any action there right around that market open time. And honestly, there is not too much that I'm noticing here at that level, because there's distributed volume, distribution between, but at the bottom we do have a large amount of buying delta. But let's go and check on Bookmap as well. Shout out to Alex with Think with Bookmap. Highly recommend you guys to check him out. Great resource, and you can save a lot of money by using this at the expense of a 1 to 2 second delay. So coming here right at market open, that was a pretty crazy click. We see that we're heading into all this liquidity down below, right? And we're actually breaking through with pretty decent amount of strength. But here at these lows, we're seeing 977 iceberg orders at the bottom. This is being covered by all those sell stops, but that iceberg order that I'm seeing is very significant. 977 is not a small amount at all. It's very significant within the market. And that's likely highlighted by this delta here that we're seeing on the footprint chart. And that shows that price may want to continue upwards from there if we can show clear opening of the bookmap market. As you can see, even here price is still trying to find its direction. You see how there's equal distribution on the buyers and sellers. We're still trying to find clear direction. See, now when those two start to empty out literally a second before the breakout, yeah, would you take a look at that? Right there. People know that price is going to head towards the upside. This is all trading internally. And that's where that upwards movement happened. And since we broke out towards the upside, that does put me in a more of a upwards bias, as long as we have a breakout from these highs right here that we have been seeing. So from here, seeing a bullish bias, and here on footprint, nothing too crazy. We're seeing distributed volume. Here we're coming up distributed volume. Still, we're having battle between the buyers and sellers until realistically, until even 9:16, right? Nothing really to be seen until 9:16. Potentially something could have been seen here around that time frame, which would be 8:45-ish. We're seeing lots of buyers enter near the top. But then again, nothing too significant. We're seeing unfinished auction here and here, showing me that price may want to go higher. Here we have a finished auction. Here, unfinished auction. Price may want to go higher. Now here, still similar thing until finally we get that breakout here at 9 a.m., which is that right there. And now we're between two barriers again. But what I am noticing is that 5865 is a key and significant level, as well as this level that we're seeing here between 5910 and 5915, around 5912.5. And I'm leaning towards the side of the upside, and you may be wondering why. Well, momentum has been heading towards the upside. This is just an area that has been shown after the breakage of these lows. These lows have been created that caused this liquidity to have been made. It's essentially nothing too significant. I'm preferring more of this side simply with the momentum that we've been seeing. Momentum says that this should be our main target. So let's see what we see here on the footprint around that 5900 level. We're still going up. We're still going up. Now here, this is actually very interesting what we're seeing right around 905, which is right around here, where we see this large red bubble. What I'm seeing there is that we're seeing large amounts of selling delta get put in the market, and this selling delta, with the addition of this lower barrier and prices unable to break through, is showing me that sellers are unable to break through and that we're likely seeing seller absorption here at this level. Look at the amount of delta that we're getting here as well. Negative 656 in delta, but still the price has closed towards the upside. It's pretty interesting to notice. One thing I also notice is that this creates a fair value gap, and we can mark that out like such here, which could be okay, but realistically, our fair value gap should be marked between 5892 to 5888. So how that would look is be from here 5892 to 5. Yeah, so this is a case where it would actually match up with it, but most of the cases it's much more precise. But here this fair value gap does occur. But what I'm seeing, barrier here, so I'm not really expecting us to come down and tap into the fair value gap simply because we have so much passive buyers here, as demonstrated by Bookmap. Now I want to see if we can break through these stacked liquidity levels, because if we could break through one, it's heavily likely that we can break through the rest as well. Likely target this heavy amount that we're seeing up near the highs. So I want to see if we can break out, and as you can see, we're showing a lot more buyer aggression than sellers simply by taking a look at these candles. Despite the large amount of seller delta that we're getting, buyers are coming in with more aggression. This candle, although closed red, lots of buying distribution, and it's showing me that buyers are waiting to come in and are waiting for that right time. Just taking a look at what we see. Additionally, what I see is that buy stops are getting filled, buy icebergs are coming in, and more buy stops are coming in. All further signals that we may continue to head upwards. So potentially entry could have been found around 5899, and you may be wondering why. That's such a random area. Well, we saw a retracement, and we saw price continuing to go higher with this breakout towards the upside. Honestly, I'm not favoring any of this, but if I were to give a setup, it would be around this area within this candle itself, because that's when we saw that upwards movement in this candle. So once we saw the upwards movement, large buying delta there, 5897-ish. So let's just keep it at the top of this candle. Where do we keep our stop? We place our stop below this selling absorption that we're seeing here, potentially likely down to here, so 5890 as a very big stop loss, but realistically we can keep it around 58992. So right around here, entry there. Where could we target? We could target this 58912 levels, which would be up here ish, and we do start to see retracement there, but let's see what happens within the market that causes all of that. See, now this is definitely an area where you'd consider to exit, and you may be wondering why. Well, take a look at what's happening on Bookmap, and also take a look at what is going on the footprint as well. Up near these highs, we're seeing lots of buyers get into the market up at these highs. We're seeing large amounts of buyer activity coupled with aggressive selling as well. It's showing me that active sellers are defending this price on top of the passive sellers that are already at these highs. And you can see that here as well, and down here below, this is actually a sign of seller absorption here at 935, which should have been right there, which does put me again at a bullish signal, which is not too bad. And then here we're seeing a push up despite this, and then there's our buying move towards the upside at 45. And if we head towards 45, we see that price heads up, essentially taps into our main liquidity. Let's take a look at what is happening to that liquidity. That liquidity has essentially been fading out until finally we have been here, and now we are just trading between. So I would favor a continued move towards the upside. But we may still play between this entire range of liquidity that we're seeing right here with these buying passive buyers, and that seems to be exactly what happened. Now, I would have preferred to sell somewhere around here for a 1.5 risk to reward, which is completely okay. But we definitely could have held this until that 512 level, which got hit very nicely here on ES. And that move itself would have ran us to that 10-20 time, and that 10-20 time is essentially the end of our market session. No more trades. So this is honestly the only successful and profitable trade that I clearly see on today's price action. And on NQ, it's likely the same. We don't have this small retracement candle here at 910 other than that, but essentially the same thing. Realistically, no trades would have been taken here today, and the reason for that is simply because the spread of liquidity here on Bookmap is way too compressed. Typically don't like to see that much of a compressed Bookmap, because if you just take a look at this compression that we're seeing here, now this is not too bad. What I don't like is that right around price, lots of different liquidity that is being put close to us, and these could be canceled, just trying to provide liquidity for buyers and sellers. So if we ignore that, then we can take into consideration this and make a profitable trade like such here with the 2.2 risk to reward, with the 1.5 to 2.2 risk to reward ratio, which is a pretty good trade if you would ask me. And this stop loss could have been moved to honestly more than break even a multitude of times, allowing this trade to be a great trade to have been to have shown itself here today in the market. But honestly, that's all I have here for today. We analyzed what happened prior to market open and analyzed the action that happened after market open on ES using footprint charts as shown here alongside bookmap to make a wonderful setup that would have gave us a great risk to reward ratio here today. That's going to be all I have here for today. We do these almost every day here at V2 Trading. And if you have any questions regarding the topics or concepts I've discussed in this video, feel free to join the Discord for completely free. The link is in the description down below. Everything is, again, 100% completely free, and there are lots of resources that you can definitely take advantage of. Additionally, you may also leave a comment down below. I'll be sure to answer your questions there as well. But that's all I have here for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next market analysis or trade recap episode. And I guess I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.